So welcome to Learn Google Photos. Today I'm going to talk about sorry, just a second. Just going to share my screen again. So today I'm going to talk about Google Photos while we're getting the PowerPoint to load. So Google Photos is an app that you can use to manage and share your photos. You can also store them across devices. So if you're taking photos on one phone, then you have your iPad and you take photos on that, you can back both of those up to the same account and have all of your photos in one place. So we'll talk about what Google Photos does, some of the editing features, and kind of the basics of how it works. And then we'll talk a little bit about the difference between Google Photos and Google Drive and backing up your photos with Google Photos. So Google Photos is a photo storage service that allows you to store an unlimited number of photos at a high quality. High quality does mean that there is a little bit of compression. So if you're like a really avid photographer that likes, using a DSLR camera and saving them in RAW, Google Photos might not be the best storage service for you. You can store photos at original quality, but then Google is going to charge you for the cost of that storage space. And because photos are bigger files, usually they take up a lot of space on phones and tablets and in the cloud. But the nice thing about this is if you're okay with a little bit of compression on your photos, then you can store an unlimited number of photos in Google Photos for free. You can also create albums, add filters, and you can share photos with others on social media, through email, text message, etc. So this is kind of an overview of what Google Photos can do. I'm going to go through each of these throughout the class. I have shared a copy of the PowerPoint in the chat, so you can click on that link and look at the PowerPoint either during the class or later. I have another device here that I was going to share my screen so I can kind of give you like a walkthrough of Google Photos rather than just being on this PowerPoint. So 1 second while I switch my screens. Okay. So this little icon in the bottom here is what Photos looks like. So here's kind of a preview of what it looks like. So to favorite a photo, you can click on Photos down here. So down here at the bottom is where you've got your photos, where you can browse through your photos library. You can search, and also you can look at the albums that are on your device. So I'll show you you can download it from the App Store, either the Google Play Store if you're on an Android phone, or if you're on an iPhone from the App Store. And then you just need to log into your Google account, and it'll prompt you to upload photos that are already on your device. And then once those are uploaded, you can also view them online at photos.google.com. And this is kind of how it syncs across devices. So I can see them on this device, and I can also log into my Google account on a different device, on like a laptop, for example. And I can look at all my photos there. So the first thing I wanted to show you is how to favorite a photo. So it's pretty easy. You just tap on the photo, and then up here in the top right corner, there's a little star. And so I can just tap that or untap that to favorite a photo. And then if I wanted to edit a photo, down here at the bottom, there's 4 icons. This first one with the kind of triangle with dots on the corners is the share. This next one that kind of has crisscross lines is how to edit a photo. The first thing you can do is you can give it a filter, or you can edit the lighting. There's actually a lot of options in here. So I wanted to make this photo warmer, or if I wanted to make this photo have higher contrast or lower contrast, you can get pretty specific in here. Next is crop. So we kind of rotate it with this little diamond and then the kind of like a little circle. You can also hold on to the photo down here, and kind of where this little 1 degree is down at the bottom, you can rotate the photo without necessarily doing a full 90-degree rotate. And so when I'm done cropping, do a little crop with these little corners, little circles in the corners here. And if I wanted to move the photo around within that smaller crop, I just tap on it and move it around. So when I'm done with that, I can click on done, and then I have to click on save in the top right corner in order for the changes to save. And so now you see this edited photo, and it's got a nice little video feature. All right. To add photos to an album, click on library, and then you just scroll down here, and then you can click on this new album button right here. So I'll give it a title, Class Album, and click on the blue check mark. And then I can either select people or pets, and I'll talk about searching later and kind of the face thing that Google Photos does, or I can click on select photos, and then I can just tap on the photo, and you'll see the little check marks appear on the photos that I want to add to the album. And then when I select all of the photos within a certain day, I can either select them individually, or I can just click on Friday, July 26th, and it'll select all the photos from that day. And then I can click add. So now I have an album. So you see it's pretty easy, it's pretty user-friendly. So searching in Google Photos is also pretty good. I think it's pretty on par with the Apple Photos app. You'll see this people and pets. It'll look for faces in photos, and then if you click on one of those faces, it'll show you photos with that person in it. So this is my dog Leela. You can, I can click on her and I can click add name. So I can add her name, Leela. And now I have photos of Leela here. So now if I go back to search, I can just search Leela, and photos of her will come up. I can also search for a date or a place that a photo was taken. questions so far? Everyone following along? Okay. So you can name people and places. If you have the location and the settings made available, you'll be able to have photos. For example, if you go on a trip to Springfield, for example, you'll be able to search Springfield if you have location enabled in your photos. So that then you can just search for Springfield and you'll get all of the photos from your trip that you took when you were in Springfield. So you can turn this feature off if you want to, but you don't have to. So I can click on my little name in the top corner. There's like a little brown circle with M in it. So now I can click on that, and then I can click on photo settings, and this is where all the settings are. So you can either have location data available or not. Looks like that I don't on this device. So how to share photos. Google Photos is pretty good at sharing. So at any point you can press and hold on a picture, and then you can select other pictures, and then you can click on that little share icon, or you can click on plus. So I'll click on the share icon, and now I can either send in Google Photos, so some of my contacts that I have in Google Photos appeared here, or in the line at the bottom, I can create a link to the photos if I have multiple photos, or this is especially helpful if you have videos, because sharing videos is kind of hard because video files are bigger and they're usually too large for either text message or email. So you would have to either share a link, or you could put them on social media if you wanted to, or another way to share videos is through cloud storage, but that's kind of what Google Photos is. So I usually just click on create link, and then it just takes a second, and then the link is copied, and I can click on an app, and then I can say who the text is going to, and then I can share it with them that way. So sharing albums is similar. I would just click on an album and then click on share, and then it's the same sharing function. So I could click on get link, create link, and then I could click on the link here. Looks like I have to click on the three dots on the top left and click on link copied. So it says my link is copied. So then I could minimize the Photos app and then go to a different app and then paste it in, which you just do with like a press and hold. So if I click on Textra and create a new message, I could just press and hold and paste it in. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of the basics of using Google Photos. I'm just going to quick switch back to my PowerPoint here. Okay. So backing up photos in Google. As I mentioned earlier, photos are generally just larger files that take up a lot of space on devices, and because of this, it can be beneficial to get them in the cloud somewhere so that you can delete them off of your device. If you only have, 16 or 32 gigabytes on your phone, you might run out of space kind of quickly. and getting photos off your phone so that you can take more photos while also still having access to photos is what Google Photos is really good at. So now we're going to, I'll show you how to back up and sync your photos. Just 1 second. Okay. Is everybody able to see the screen here? Doesn't appear like it's showing. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, so Google Photos does update their app somewhat frequently. So sometimes where you can find the settings changes. So for now, it looks like they did actually change it recently. So I'm going to click on this free up 16.99 gigabytes. Previously, it was like 3 lines in the top left corner, but they changed that within the past few days, it seems. So if I tap on free up 16.99 gigabytes, this is a way that you can delete the photos off of your phone and then keep them in Google Photos. So I click on that. It'll start deleting photos off of the phone while making sure that they're saved in the cloud. And it wouldn't tell me that I can delete them off my phone if they weren't saved. So sometimes this does take a little bit of time. So usually I check back, in a couple hours or a day or two later to make sure that the app is actually working. Usually it works just fine in the background, so you shouldn't need to keep having it open while it's working. So this is the settings area. So if I click on backup and sync in the settings, and again, I got to that by clicking on my little name in the top left corner, and then that little circle, the brown circle with an M in it, and then I clicked on Photos Settings down here, kind of closer to the bottom. So I'll click on that again to go to that settings page. And then the first one up here is backup and sync. So if I click on backup and sync, I see the account that the photos are backing up to, and I can either turn it off or I can turn it on by clicking on this little switch at the top. And I can choose high quality or original quality. The first 15 gigabytes are free of original quality, but photos are big files, so you're going to run through that relatively quickly. So I recommend high quality as long as you're okay with a little bit of compression on your photos. It'll make them a little bit smaller files than they originally were. And then if you're on an Android device, Apple devices work a little bit differently, which is why they don't have this option. But if you're on an Android device, you can choose the device folders that you want to back up. So if you want to back up, photos that you saved from your text messaging app or from a different app, Snapchat, for example, or Textra is another messaging app, or Twitter, you can turn these folders on or off. So I have 2 Instagram accounts, one for myself and one for my dog, which is why there's 2 Instagrams there. So if I wanted to save both posts from Instagram on my account and Instagram on my dog's account, I would need to have both of these available. And then this, if I wanted to automatically back up any photos that I take on my Canon camera, I could click on that icon. So again, Apple devices work differently, so they don't have this option. But if you're on an Android device, you can scroll through the different photos folders on your device and decide whether or not you want those backed up. So you can also choose if you're okay with having cell phone data used while you're backing up your photos. I have that turned off. So still working on freeing up the space. So for now, I'm going to stop sharing on my phone. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right, feel free to put questions either in the chat or to raise your hand if at some point there's something that you would like me to either go over again or just talk more about. So for now, I'm going to jump back to where we are in the slide presentation. So, and also as a reminder, if you move your mouse over kind of the bottom of the screen, there's a little icon. If you hover over it, it says show conversation. In the chat, I went ahead and put a copy of this presentation so that you can refer back to it later. So we just talked about freeing up space in the devices. There's in the PowerPoint, there's kind of some steps on how that would work. So that was kind of the overview. I got through it in about half the time I thought it would take. So please, questions, comments. If you want to unmute and talk about why you signed up for this class, and maybe I can try to answer some questions that way. Okay, well, if there aren't any questions, I would like to thank everybody for coming today. Again, this class was recorded, so you can have access to the recording within the Teams app. Since you were in attendance today, I'll also have it posted on the library's YouTube channel where you can view it there. And if at any point you have other questions that come up, we do tech help appointments virtually in Teams. You just go to lakeforestlibrary.org/techhelp with no spaces, and then you can fill out the form there, and we'll set up an appointment where we can chat about one-on-one with what tech question you have. So with that, I will stop the recording. I just want to thank everybody for coming today.